Good day, everyone! So today, we're going to tell you what is sociology,
What is social forces, social map,
and social imagination.
A society is just a group of people who share a culture and a territory, and culture is in everything. Biggest questions in politics to the smallest interactions between people. So yes, society is big, but it's also very small. Want to see how? Let's go to the thought bubble. Imagine you're sitting alone in your room singing along to your favorite Broadway show at the top of your lungs. Not another person in sight. Society isn't anywhere to be found. Except that it is. Even if you ignore the house that you're in and the parents, siblings, or roommates you're probably bothering while you're singing so horribly, there's still the song that you're singing and the music that goes with it. Those things, along with literally every object in the room that you didn't make yourself, are all products of society. And you might be all alone when you're belting out Hamilton, but you weren't alone when a friend first introduced you to the musical and its songs. And for that matter, your taste in music isn't purely yours either. What kind of music you like can be influenced by anything from what you were exposed to as a kid, to what your friends like now, to what neighborhood you grew up in, or what schools you went to. Society is tricky. It gets in places you might not expect. Thanks, Thought Bubble. Social location, marginalization, and power and inequality. If you imagine a map of society laying out all the different social groups and their relationships to each other, then your social location is your spot on that map. Your social location is a way of classifying yourself by race, social class, gender, sexual orientation, religion, etc. Understanding social location is important because just like the sociologist looks for the general and the particular, a person's life and choices will be influenced by their social location. This is true in a bunch of ways. Most obvious is that your social location can limit your choices. Some groups have legal rights and privileges that others don't. For instance, until a few years ago, gays and lesbians couldn't legally marry in the US, so their social location limited their choices. But social location also impacts what you learn and what you're taught about society. Whether or not you go to college, for instance, can be heavily influenced by whether the social class you grew up in tends to see college as a real or valuable possibility.
Called the sociological imagination. In sociology, to understand one's own self, we must understand the concept of the sociological imagination was presented in 1959 by C. Wright Mills in his famous book of the same title, where he states, "The sociological imagination enables us to grasp history and biography and the relations between the two within society. That is its task and its promise. The concept is to understand the distinction between a person's troubles and public issues. At what point does something such as unemployment or trouble finding a job shift from being a personal problem to a public issue? If one person is unemployed, that is a personal problem. If 1 million out of 10 million people cannot find employment, that is a public issue." According to Mills, there is an intricate relationship between the individual and society. Whatever a person does is not just because it is of their own choice or personal preference.